Did we get a nice bear trap on our hands here? And was that the dip buy this morning? Let's get into it here with our daily SPY SPX analysis. Today is Thursday, March 27, 2025. Don't forget to give don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Again, take advantage of that 60% off the first month here. We called it here in the trading room really all day yesterday, as early as kind of like lunchtime. Twitter's down for me right now, but it's on my Twitter if you guys want to check it out. But I said this probably at least 20 to 25 times between like lunchtime yesterday and really this morning. But I said look for weakness in the morning that should get bought, and then lunch hour kind of nothingness, and then strength into the afternoon, and we're seeing pretty much that. And we actually caught this short this morning, played some SPXU, and we went right down into the gap. You can see 565 that held pretty well, so we didn't quite fill the gap on the SPY, which I actually kind of like. We did technically fill it to the tick. Actually 57.20 was the low, close there was 57.20, so we filled it to the tick on ES. And yeah, just caught the short on the first leg down, flipped, closed, and then flipped back long on the reclaim of our level here. And we actually took some profits and bought some back here, TQQQ as well. So working pretty nicely. Why did I think this was going to happen? Well, I can't tell you all that, but I can tell you that the psychology of it was pretty clear, though, in the sense that we sold off pretty hard. And to me, it was too easy, right? It's too easy for that to be the lower high. I mean, yes, everybody knew that structurally this was not very good. But again, we still have not filled out, like I said yesterday, I think we have unfinished business with 58.25. And you can see the measured move there is, almost perfect, like to the tick. It's actually like 58.15, but, we'll give it 10 points of wiggle room there to get to that 50% fib. But it was, a little contrived. It had a lot of that April 30th feel to it, right? So if we'll just zoom out here, it kind of has that April 30th feel to it, right? Where we had that, it's almost the same, right? Dip by 1-2 up and then down. And it's kind of a similar setup here. So I figured if we were down this morning, we would get a dip buy, and then we'd see some afternoon strength as bears are trying to short for the afternoon collapse, and that's not happening. Another thing, here's a tip, free tip for everybody. I saw at least like 5, probably more, people calling for 5,500 today, and new lows by tomorrow. Some people were even calling for that and then 5,700 by Monday, which I don't even know how that would look. I mean, how are you going to get that in one day price action? That's insane. But they were calling for this as the market was, pre-market, we were flat. I'm going to tell you right now, if we're going to crash in a capacity, you have to be down 2% pre-market before that even happens. You're not going to crash from, RTH. Unless some ridiculous news happens, and I mean ridiculous news, not tariffs, I mean something big. You got to have the BOJ do something, or something crazy that the market doesn't even expect. We're not going to crash from flat. You got to be down to 560 before it even gets going. You know what I'm saying? That people have got to get wiped out. Like calls got to get wiped out on the open. You got to have that margin wipe out. And that wasn't the case. So it was pretty easy to shorts got enticed right here, and it was an easy dip buy. And so was the afternoon too. This bear flag here was pretty telegraphed, and we kind of figured we'd see some strength. A little bit of deja vu here as well. And if we can put that up, I think you can show you. Yep, you can see 570 right back. So deja vu here, although today's setup, arguably even a little bit better, because we grabbed a lot of liquidity on the way down. The only thing I would prefer is I would prefer to see the NASDAQ leading off the lows. It's trying to catch up to SPY, but you do have semiconductor weakness. That is a red flag. So I don't think that there's anything, I'm not saying that's it. We're just going to moon here, but, at least from a day trading standpoint, this is a pretty good day. And I think that can build tomorrow. I think if we close green here, reasonably green, I think we could build a little bit tomorrow. Not a huge day, but we can build up. And then I think we could see those targets get hit. One thing that is also a red flag for bears, or a confirming sign for bulls, is VVIX is at new lows of the day. It's taking out yesterday's low. And we're doing that even as the Qs are negative. So if we talk about the VVIX being up Monday as a red flag for bulls, and you have to acknowledge it on the downside as well. So we're seeing that right here. Volatility itself being fairly sticky though. VIX here down 9 cents, but has still kind of higher lows intraday. And we're seeing the market start to float up here as we get towards the end of the day. Again, a lot of puts decaying. Be interesting. Somebody bought a lot of puts at the money this morning at 57.30. I'll be interesting to see if they go sweat those guys into the end of the day here, because that's kind of ballsy. I think they're ODTs too. So we'll see what happens here, but yeah, I think this could just be a higher low here, and that could take us up. That doesn't mean the bulls are out of the woods, but that's just kind of the way I think it's going. And you can tell that we're in a low liquidity environment too, right? Based on this move, if we were in a high liquidity environment, we would have just gone sideways through the lunch hour and then just punched up. But we had to back off, so you're seeing that seesaw action. But nonetheless, it's 57.20 up there. Yeah, I think we'll try for 570 again. One of my targets is probably going to get hit as we're doing this. So we'll see. But that's what we're looking at. Again, bulls want to see the Qs start to outperform. Microsoft is starting to catch back up. Apple's catching up here, going for 225 again. And Tesla was strong all day. That was probably a red flag for bears this morning. A risk-on stock here was green to open, and it started pumping on the open. Whereas the rest of the market was down. We talk about the transports every day. This was also a red flag here too. Very nice outside move at 10, around 10 o'clock. So we saw some things offsetting the semis. I might do an article about this soon, in regards to how important IGV is now. Now that we're seeing unless semis start to pick back up again, this is very important, and I'll talk about that more when I get an article done. But nonetheless, here spiders, they're trying to punch back to 570. Q's 485 area. I think last I checked there was some sitting there at 484, so that might be about it for the day. But nonetheless, good move here, and a little bit of a bear trap. And we'll see if we can follow through tomorrow. IWM flat again, same kind of look here. Oh, by the way, I talked about this too yesterday, but we went right into this trend line here on the spiders. So nice pop. So third higher low there. That could be a catalyst. Saw a lot of talk about evening star reversal and everything today too. So I just think things were a little too bearish. It was too easy of a layup. If we hit our numbers, I would have been a lot more on the bear side, and I don't think this dip would have gotten bought here. But yeah, something I talked about relentlessly is specifically afternoon strength this morning. In fact, here we go. Now it's working. Twitter's back up, but you can see it. Yeah, weakness in the morning, recover in the afternoon, weakness tomorrow morning. Is everybody kept asking me, and I said, look, this is where we're gonna look for here. Twitter's back up. Yay. All right, IWM here flat. We talked about that. Dow flat too. So Spider is actually the strongest today. SMH, down 1.36. Kind of ugly. Broadcom's weak. Believe it or not, NVIDIA is actually kind of the strongest one. AMD kind of soft today. Yeah, Intel managing to come back a little bit. That might just be a stability play. But we'll see if Broadcom can reclaim 180 by that weekly close tomorrow. We got PCE tomorrow morning too. Don't forget about that. But if we can reclaim 180, it could be a good look here, a little liquidity grab. Yeah, we'll see what it does. IGV we mentioned, that still has plenty of room for higher lows. Transports, good inside day. Well, it did make a higher high. And then bonds, 2-year did rally today, but the long end of the curve, again, back down. It did come off the lows. You can see the 10-year here. That's still pushing up. I think it's got a little bit more to go. And then I think it's getting top heavy. Speaking of top heavy, we'll talk about something in a second here. I got to get through this first, though. XHB, still got a little micro bull, but I mean, you got to clear this 20 moving average before it's really of interest. I wouldn't play this, just because of that. I don't trust bull flags that are below the 20 and the 50 usually. Doesn't mean it won't play out, but I definitely don't trust it. Nice pop here on the spiders. I think one of my sells is probably triggering right now. I think it is. So anyway, VNQ. Up 27 cents. It did lose that green bar though, so I don't like it. But we'll see. If the market gets a bid, it might catch up. XLF still strong. XLF, no problems here. And that's been a key. You know, that's been a big feather in the cap of bulls here, because they've been able to hold that, you know, the financials. Um, and by the way, dollar yen has been strong in the last 2 days, and that was probably a signal that we were going to see a dip buy today. Speaking of, you know, financials and leverage and all that. KRE, flat here. Same thing with KBE and broker dealers. Down a little bit, but they came off the lows. Oil continuing to show strength. Little inside hammer, no problems with that. I'd like to see a little bit more basing, and then I can try for 72. XLE continues to be a powerhouse, although it did back off today. But look, it came off the lows nicely. This is more of an evening star to me, right? Up big, right, for a long, extended period of time, and you're really extended. Like, I'll bet you the RSI is over. Yeah, the RSI close to overbought. That's more of an evening star than this to me. You're not really overbought here. It's just a bounce. I'm not saying, obviously, you know, it worked if you went short yesterday, but in the big sense, the big picture, you know, that's a way better evening star. You got you got the gap up, the tail, and even then, it didn't even really follow through, so it's still strong. This can still just base here, which it probably does need to. But anyway, XOP again, basing inside bar there. That is looking better. And OIH still below 270, but you know, it's had a good pop. Nat gas here back up, so it held the green bar low. New contract now. I think we're on M, right? May. So J. Nope, that's April. Well, either way, I forget the number, but it doesn't matter. It's holding the green bar low here. Yeah, we'll leave it at that for now. Good pullback pattern. Again, this can just consolidate here. So just be aware, if this consolidates, it can go higher. But yeah, we had a good topping signal there. Anyway, dollar index here. Backed off today, but it did come off the lows. It's actually starting to pump a little bit right now. So getting a little bit of a bid here into the end of the day. But yeah, still got some work to do to get through that 200 moving average. This is top heavy now. Gold up 1.53. New contract. I'm close to selling. Like my runner position. The reason for that is, A, we're very close to my target. And in fact, I'll just show you my target because it's public information anyway. But it's on my blog if you want to check out the whole article. But yeah, right here, 30.90 on spot. We're about 30 points away. And the reason why I'm really, you know, like that right now is Goldman. They are the top signal almost every time, especially with commodities or oil, gold. Raising the price target. Oh, you're going to raise the price target now. You're going to raise the price target now. Hold on, let me zoom out here. You're going to raise the price target now after it's just had this whole run here. That's usually the signal, just like when they lowered their S&P forecast on the exact day that we bottomed, but they conveniently didn't touch it when it was still at 7,000 or whatever it was up here at the highs. So just throwing that out there, I would trail stops if long. It's basically, you know, yeah, it's 20 or 30 points away from my measured move. Silver, on the other hand, is going to 38 though. Silver usually has a secondary peak after gold. So silver is still in good shape. No problems there. Just hold that. Platinum finally got going. It was kind of pedestrian to start the day, but then look, boom. Big move in the middle of the morning and then took off there. So nice pop. And palladium did get kind of follow through on that inside bar pattern. Like, it's not great though, I'll be honest. So copper backing off, although it did come off the lows. We talked about this in the trading room too. Maybe a top signal here. Somebody got blown up on margin, clearly. However, a lot of the time, I'm just going to flip over on trading view because it's easier to draw. But a lot of the time with like these double tops, especially in commodities, a lot of the time it'll do, like, there's already dip buyers here. You can see them. Like, sometimes you'll get something like this, and then it'll top out. So I would say something, you know, again, I'm not telling you that's what's going to happen, but I would be open to that scenario. We'll just say that. Bitcoin holding up well today. Still has a micro bull inside bar on the daily. This was also kind of a precursor here to this little afternoon rally. Just kind of curling back up really all afternoon, even as the markets were selling off. Bitcoin's a pretty good leading indicator a lot of the time, and yeah, I mean it's acting well today. You can see another one that I've been looking at too is the yen, and again intraday. This is just coiling here for a move. So we had some signals here, risk on. We talked about VVIX, you know, new lows of the day. Some risk on signals, and I prefer if the NASDAQ was really leading. We'll see if it does. It's not quite there, but yeah, good stuff here. We'll see if we can push through tomorrow and get some follow through. And then we'll just kind of go from there, I guess. But yeah, PC tomorrow morning, that might be a catalyst. And we'll see if maybe some more hedges come off before end of quarter. A lot of puts, I think, getting burned out too. As we're above 5,700, we'll see that those puts kind of decay a little bit more, I think, at least into Monday. So anyways, guys, I'll wrap up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. See you guys all tomorrow.